Welcome to Lesson 4 in our series on 3D for AccuMark version 10.1. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to define 3D position, create stitching relationships, place pieces on the avatar, and complete the cloth simulation. Opening a 3D workspace allows the user to define the orientation of pieces on the avatar and create sewing relationships between those pieces. A 3D tab has been added to the Pattern Design ribbon in order to open a 3D workspace. The tab includes all the functions needed to finalize a model for 3D visualization. These functions are used to define stitching relationships between pieces, identify the piece positions relative to the avatar, simulate the 3D garment, and adjust preferences. The 3D workspace hosts all the functionality necessary to complete a 3D garment simulation. There are visual cues to identify and differentiate the 3D work area. For example, the icon in the tab 3D work area is an avatar. The work area color is different from the 2D workspace, and this can be changed in Preferences. There are also fewer tabs in the ribbon to focus on the functions required for 3D simulation. Additionally, you can view the 2D and 3D workspace together by using right-click on the tab workspace header. When using the 3D workspace, pieces are placed in orientation with the body rather than with the piece grain line, with the bottom of the workspace used for the front and the top of the workspace as the back. Normally, when pieces are selected from the PDS piece icon menu, only the as input or digitized piece is placed. In 3D, all of the pieces in the model, including lefts and rights and all piece counts, are placed in the work area. Mirrored pieces will also be placed unfolded. This will provide a complete garment for 3D simulation. Relationships identify how to virtually sew the garment. This step must be completed prior to starting the cloth simulation in order to successfully complete the 3D rendering. Within the 3D tab, you can create and manage relationships using the appropriate icons. Arrangement points provide a definable hang point to place a piece relative to the avatar. They allow a user to control the drape of the garment piece to avoid collision. Now, click the button at the bottom of your screen to view a demonstration on PDS 3D tab Basics. A 3D tab has been added to the Pattern Design ribbon in order to open a 3D workspace, including all the functions needed to finalize a model for 3D visualization. Once the 3D tab has been accessed, click on Open 3D from the Workspace group at the far left of the ribbon. This will open the model into a 3D workspace. To view the 2D and 3D workspaces together, right-click on the tab Workspace header and select New Horizontal or Vertical tab group. Traditionally, when pieces are selected from the PDS piece icon menu, only the as input or digitized piece is placed. In the 3D workspace, all pieces in the model, including lefts, rights, and all piece counts, will open into the work area. Mirrored pieces will also be placed unfolded, providing a complete garment for simulation. With the desired pieces placed in the 3D workspace, orient the pattern so they follow the aforementioned rules and as shown here. We will take the as input orientation and use the rotate function in order to correctly orient these pieces for 3D. We first select rotate from the modify tab and then ensure that the correct options are chosen in view. We then select the piece to rotate and continue to utilize the function and move pieces until all pieces of the model are correctly positioned for 3D. Once the pieces are correctly rotated, we can exit the rotate function and move the pieces in the workspace as shown, with the front piece at bottom of the screen and the back piece above it at top. This creates a flattened top-down view where the head of the body would be at the center of the positioned pieces facing down. Next, relationships identify how to virtually sew the garment. This step must be completed prior to starting the cloth simulation in order to successfully complete the 3D rendering. To create a basic sewing relationship, from the 3D tab, select Create in the Relationships panel. Select the first line or lines to stitch using the Control key to select multiple lines. Then, select the corresponding sew lines. Use the Control key once more to select multiple lines as necessary. A dashed stitch line will appear in the work area to identify the seam. If a flipped piece is stitched, the other side will automatically complete the same relationship. Once the relationship has been created, you can use the Manager function to make any edit. To manage relationships, from the 3D tab, select Manager in the Relationships panel. Move the cursor to highlight the relationship to manage, and then use the right mouse button to select from the following options. Flip stitching will change the direction of the relationship, and delete relationship will remove an existing relationship. As always, be sure to save your progress before continuing. When saving in the 3D tab, the piece and model progress, along with positions and relationships, will be saved. The process functions complete the final steps to render the 3D garment. Place on avatar is used to position the pieces relative to the avatar before displaying in 3D. The cloth simulation function displays the model in 3D. This simulation utilizes the 3D garment information defined in the model editor, images added in Ppattern Eesign, and sewing relationships to create the virtual garment. The utility panel provides functionality to view or reset 3D parameters. The displayed functions are not required to complete a 3D garment simulation, but can be helpful in correcting relationship or placement issues. Now, click the button at the bottom of your screen to view a video demonstration showing the final steps in rendering the 3D garment. After creating the stitching relationships, we will next use Place on Avatar to position the pieces relative to the avatar before displaying in 3D. The pieces should be placed so that the stitching line. To place pieces on the avatar, from the 3D tab, select Place on Avatar in the Process panel. The Place Pieces window will open, and the pieces will be placed on the avatar using the defined positions within the model. If piece placement needs to be adjusted, move the cursor until the desired piece is highlighted and select that piece. Move the piece until it is at the correct location and click to place. Only one piece can be selected. To change the avatar display, use the camera icons and repeat the previous steps as necessary. When done, right-click on your mouse and choose OK from the menu. The final step in the basic workflow for 3D virtualization of a garment is to render the model in 3D using Blender. To start the cloth simulation, first ensure that the 3D garment information in the model editor, sewing relationships, and piece placements are complete and accurate prior to simulation. Once the setup is complete, from the 3D tab, select Cloth Simulation in the The simulation will begin automatically and launch Blender. Once the simulation is complete, utilize the tools within Blender to measure the garment, check fabric tension or garment pressure, and so on. The functions and tools located in Blender will be covered in more detail in future lessons. Now it's your turn to practice working in the 3D workspace. Click the button at the bottom of your screen to begin the simulation. Begin by navigating to the 3D tab. From the 3D tab, open a 3D workspace. Now, with the model opened in the 3D workspace, navigate to the Modify tab. In the Modify tab, click on the Rotate function. We will be rotating pieces into position according to the previously mentioned rules for 3D piece positioning. With the option for 90 degrees clockwise increments already selected, first choose the back piece. Next, click OK under User Input. The front piece still needs to be rotated into its correct position, but first choose the option for a counterclockwise rotation under User Input. Now choose the front piece. Click OK to continue. Click OK once more to exit the function. The pieces now need to be moved into their proper positions. Recall that the positioning is of a top-down view of the body with the avatar facing down the screen. Select the front piece so it can be moved into position. With the pieces moved into the correct positions in the workspace, back at top and front at bottom, click the 3D tab on the ribbon. Also, keep in mind that once the pieces have been saved in the 3D workspace, their current position will remain whenever the model is opened again. The pieces now need to have sewing relationships created, so click on the appropriate function from the ribbon menu. First, create a relationship for the right side seam, starting with the back piece's right side. Next, choose the corresponding seam to sew to on the front piece. Repeat the same steps for the left side, starting with the appropriate sew line on the back piece. Keep in mind that while the sewing direction as noted by the arrows is important, the order in which seams are chosen for creating relationships is not. Now choose the corresponding seam line on the front piece. Continue the process with the shoulder straps, starting on the right strap of the back piece. Next, match that sew line to the front piece. Repeat the previous two steps for the left shoulder, starting with the back and then working to the front. Now click OK in the user input box to close out the function and continue. Next, from the ribbon, choose Place on Avatar. In the Place Pieces window, click on the back piece. The movement of the piece has been simulated for you so that it is positioned further down the body. Next, click on the front camera view to continue. With the front camera view enabled, choose the front piece. Once again, the movement of the piece has been simulated for you to show how 2D pattern pieces will sometimes need to be adjusted relative to the avatar prior to the final 3D virtualization. To confirm progress and continue, start by right-clicking your mouse in the Place Pieces area. From the options that appear, choose OK. You are now ready to render the garment in 3D, so click the Cloth Simulation button on the 3D tab of the ribbon. A new window will open, initializing Blender. Blender will open, and depending on various factors, such as the complexity of the garment and your computer's processing speed, you will need to wait momentarily as the garment is rendered. Great job! The garment is finally rendered in 3D and appears in the Blender window. Keep in mind that in some cases you may experience issues with the rendering process, which will need to be corrected in AccuMark or using the available Blender tools. Future lessons will cover the topic of troubleshooting rendering issues. Congratulations, you have